Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today, as you might have noticed already by the title of this video, we're gonna have something new, something different. Don't worry, I'm still gonna post my video on trading in the following week, but today, please give a warm welcome to Kingstix. He is a high diamond player from the North America region. He has his own YouTube channel, to which I will link here. Subscribe if you really like his content. He has some really good stuff. And he will be teaching us today how to play SORAKA. If you look at his stats, you will understand why. On to you, Kingstix.
Hello everybody, my name is Kingstix and this is my SORAKA support guide. I've had a lot of success with SORAKA, lots of wins. I'm on like a 9-game win streak right now. Overall, SORAKA has an extremely strong early game, especially in her first 2 levels with her Q, an absolute insane slow, lots of damage in, plus it's also a self-heal for SORAKA, so there's really no way to get out-traded unless you do something absolutely stupid. And if you can win lane or take the game late game, there's pretty much no way you can lose on SORAKA as long as you position correctly, because with all of the heals that you're going to be having and how strong they are, there's really no way for the enemies to kill the targets that they need to kill. And the enemies know this, which is why once you get out of silver or gold elo, if you do play SORAKA, the enemies will focus you, and this makes their positioning even more important. SORAKA's passive is Salvation. SORAKA gains 70% bonus movement speed when moving towards allied champions below 40% of their maximum HP. You're not going to be able to use your passive that much, but whenever you're in a team fight especially, you're going to be able to use it quite a bit since there are going to be a lot of low HP allies. If you find yourself in a situation where you feel like you can't get away, look for an ally who's very low on HP and run towards them. Even if you have to kind of run past an enemy champion to run towards them, it's worth it because the bonus movement speed you get from doing it is tremendous. Like in this play here, I ran towards Victor and I really would have died any other way, and then Hecarim tried to kill me in Victor. I flash his ult and then I keep killing Victor, so he doesn't have enough damage to kill Victor, and I evaded his damage so I would still have enough health to heal Victor. Plus the movement speed for my passive got me into position where it forced Hecarim to use his ult. SORAKA's Q is her early game bread and butter. You're going to take this ability at level 1 and you're going to max it last. Star Call has an insanely low starting cooldown of 5 seconds and it is static. This is why you're not actually going to max it first or second. You're going to max it last. It slows all enemy targets hit by 30% for 2 full seconds. Bear in mind, this is an AoE ability, so you can hit lots of enemy champions with it and slow them by 30% for 2 whole seconds. Not only that, but every time you hit an enemy champ with it, you heal yourself for quite a bit and you gain 10% movement speed. This is why your Q is such a useful trading tool in lane, because you could just auto attack Q, run away, and you just way out traded them. Since you're going to get health back, you can run away, and they just took an auto attack and Q worth of damage. Once you start building up your lead on them and you start beating them down with constant auto attacks and Qs, then you can just keep auto attacking them and not having to run away. Just stay in there and auto attack Q, auto attack Q. It's very simple. The reason why you want to wait till they start their auto attack to Q is because they'll get used to trying to dodge a Q or faking you out and not actually auto attacking you. So ideally what you want to do, walk up to them and start your auto attack. If they do nothing, they're going to get hit by an auto attack. If they turn to hit you, you auto attack first, so your auto's already on the way, and then you immediately drop your Q. Since they're going to auto attack you right there, they've started their animation, so they can't dodge the Q in time. So they have 2 choices. Finish doing their auto attack and get hit by your auto attack and Q, which means they'll lose the trade because you're just going to heal anyways, because every time you hit an enemy champ with your Q, it heals you. Or they run away, dodge the Q, and they get hit by your auto attack. Either way, they're going to lose the trade. There's no way they can win it. If you are playing properly like this, it is considered playing aggro. If you do this, get the enemies so low on health that if the enemy jungler comes, it won't matter. Or make sure you're warding, because if you're playing aggro and if you don't get the enemy champions low enough on HP, if the enemy jungler comes, you will die, so make sure you are warding. SORAKA's W is Astral Infusion. This is going to be your main heal. Upon activating, you can heal any allied champion except for yourself. You can't heal minions with it, only allied champions. The cooldown on it does get lower and lower each time you level it up. At level 1 it is 8 seconds, at level 5 it is 2 seconds. This is why we are going to be maxing Astral Infusion first. Just because we're maxing it first doesn't mean we're going to be taking it at necessarily level 2. If our level 1 goes really well and the enemy champions are low on health, we're going to be taking our E for extra damage and pressure. If our level 1 is not going so well and the enemies had a lot more pressure on us, then we're going to be taking our Astral Infusion at level 2 and then getting our E at level 3 and then maxing Astral Infusion. It's important to remember that with your Astral Infusion that it does drain your HP, 10% of your maximum HP. So building health on SORAKA typically isn't good, especially in the early game, because it's not really giving you anything. So this is actually going to lead us into many of our different item builds, and overall the way we structure Soraka is mainly based off of this spell alone. Since this spell does get really low on cooldown, all the way down to 2 seconds at level 5 without any CDR whatsoever, it's really going to allow you to keep an allied champion alive for quite a while. So make sure you're watching your positioning, make sure you're healing who needs to be healed, and also don't forget that healing a tank does a lot more than healing a squishy. For example, say your AD carry is only missing 100 health and they don't really have any assassins to get to him, take one step forward and heal your tank, because your tank has a lot of armor and magic resist. So say you give your tank 300 HP, it's going to take the enemies a lot longer to take that HP off of your tank than it is going to be your AD carry. Of course, if they do have assassins and they are jumping your AD carry to kill them, you are going to want to heal your AD carry, but just remember that healing your tanks is also really good because health is amplified quite a bit by their armor and magic resist. So if you can sneak in and get a few lucky heals on your tanks in a very thick team fight, it can make a massive world of difference, because for each second longer that your tank lives, it typically leads to your AD carry living a lot longer as well, since enemies can't kill your tanks. Your E is your Equinox. It is your silence / root. It only roots them if they're still in the circle at the very end of it. To ensure that they're at the circle at the very end of it, the best way to use this ability is to land your Q first and then immediately hit them with your E. If you feel like they're low on HP or they're going to want to run away, throw it slightly behind them, ever so slightly, that way they'll still be in and they can't get out. If they are trying to get to you, throw your Q down on them and then throw out your E slightly in front of them, so that way they will get snared by it. Bear in mind, since it is a silence, if they have any jumps or even their flash up, they can't get away. If an enemy is about to flash over a wall and you recognize that, throw out your E right on them. They won't be able to flash. It's a very powerful silence. Your E is also an amazing tool to defend your AD carry or anybody from an assassin. If someone like Rengar or Kha'Zix or a mage like Diana jumps one of your carries, throw your E down right on top of them and then they won't be able to do their full damage load. And then you can just heal your carry and the enemy won't be able to use any of their abilities. And if they are not willing to move, they're also going to get snared. So not only can they not use their abilities, but if they choose to fight with their auto attacks, they're going to be snared in just a few seconds. This is also a great tool to throw on yourself if you feel like an assassin's jumping you. If you see Rengar or someone's jumping onto you, throw it down on yourself, drop a Q down on yourself, and then just run out of it, and they should get snared and slowed. And they should be slowed, silenced, and potentially get snared if they don't have fast enough movement speed. Also remember, since it is a silence, you can use it to stop channels like when Fiddlesticks is draining, or when Fiddlesticks is charging up his ult, or if Nunu's charging his ult, or if Anavia is using her ult, you can use your E to hit her to stop it. This is also a really good tool if your team is on the offense. So say your team's engaging, like your allied Malphite ults in on the enemy team. Your E has quite a bit of range. You can cast it from a fairly large distance. So walk up while the team fight's happening, and if you don't think they can jump onto you or your AD carry, throw down your E on the enemy team. It's going to fuck them up really hard. They're going to be silenced. They're going to be confused. And if they don't move very quickly, they're also going to be snared. This will really screw them up. It's a really powerful CC, guys. Your E does have a fairly long cooldown, so in a team fight, it's extremely important that you use it the best way possible. If you feel like you're going to need it more for defense, hold on to it and throw it on your carry or yourself. If you feel like your team has more offense, and if you guys are going to need it while going in on the enemies, use it then. Just make sure you use it in the best way possible, because at most, you're going to get to use your E twice in a team fight. And that's going to be a very long team fight if you can use it 2 times. Sometimes I take my E at level 2, sometimes I take my E at level 3. Either way, I always max my E second, of course taking my ult whenever I can. The main thing that determines whether I take my E at level 2 or at level 3 is determined by how well our level 1 goes. Soraka's level 1, like I said, is very strong. If your level 1 goes well and you're poking the enemies really good and your AD carry is helping, if you and your AD carry have a lot more HP than the 2 enemy bot laners, then go ahead and take your E at level 2. It's going to give you a lot more power. You guys can probably kill one of them, and it's also going to fuck them up if they try to fight you at level 2. Otherwise, if you guys are low on health and losing the trades and are just general not doing well, it's better to take your W so you can heal your AD carry, and if they do jump in on you, you'll have your heal, and you'll be better off that way. Make sure you know what's happening at level 1, so that way you can decide whether to take your W or your E at level 2. Soraka's ultimate is Wish. When activated, she heals every single allied champion, including herself, and she still heals her allied champions. even if they are untargetable. So like if Fizz is in his troll pole. It's also important to keep in mind Wish's healing is increased by 50% on targets below 40% of their maximum health. So if you have an allied champion or even yourself below 40% of your maximum health, it does 50% more. So let's say your ultimate with your items and all your AP is healing for 600. If you or an allied champion has 40% health or less, then your ultimate will now be healing for 900. So it's really important that in a fight or when you're trying to keep an ally alive or yourself, that you use your ultimate last. It'll have a little indicator because your passive and wish work very similarly because your passive and wish both go off of 40% of maximum HP. Your passive speeds you up and wish just heals 50% more if they're below 40% HP. So whenever you see that indicator for your passive, then you know that your ultimate is going to do 50% more healing. So that's ideally when you want to use it. So keep using your normal heal, your W and your items, and then once the majority of your teammates are injured or somebody is extremely low on health and about to die, then use your ultimate. This way you'll get the most bang for your buck. For Soraka's Masteries, it's best to take 18 in Cunning and 12 in Resolve. The most important things to take in the Cunning tree are Meditation, Bandit, Intelligence, and Windspeaker's Blessing. Windspeaker's Blessing is by far the best keystone you can take on Soraka. Her heals, it makes them so much stronger, plus she's buying healing and shielding items, so it works absolutely beautifully. Down the Resolve tree, the most important things you can take are Recovery, the Runic Armor, and the Perseverance. Perseverance is very, very nice because in team fights, you'll get low on HP, but it'll just keep you alive long enough and give you enough health regeneration so that you can keep doing your job, which is healing essentially. For Soraka's runes, it's best to take 9 scaling AP per level marks, 9 scaling health per level seals, 3 flat AP quints, and 9 scaling AP per level blues. The reason for taking the HP seals instead of armor is because with the kind of items we're going to be building, especially trying to get the Warmogs, we're going to need a little bit of extra HP. Otherwise, we won't hit that 3000 sweet spot with the Warmog. And if we don't hit that 3000 sweet spot, we're going to be missing out on a lot of stats. Also, with your marks, there's really no point taking magic penetration since overall all of Soraka's abilities benefit off of AP anyways, and she only has 2 damage AP spells, so taking scaling AP marks on her just makes more sense. Same with their scaling per level AP glyphs. Soraka doesn't need any cooldown reduction or any magic penetration out of her blues because with her items that we're building, we're already going to get 40% CDR, which is the max amount you can get anyways. And like I said, she only has 2 damaging spells anyways. 9 times out of 10, you're just going to start with the Spell Thief's Edge and Refillable Potion along with the Warding Totem. There's a few exceptions. If you're going to play super aggro, you might start with extra potions, or super safe, you might start Ancient Coin. In the early game, you're pretty much just going to rush Eye of the Watchers and try to get Redemption as fast as possible, of course upgrading into the Oracle's Lens once you are level 9. For your optional items, it pretty much depends on what the enemy team has and what your team has. Sometimes you might have to prioritize more health, sometimes you might have to prioritize more armor, sometimes more MR, but an important thing to remember is it's important that you get at least 2 HP items so that when you get your final item, Warmogs, you'll have 3000 HP and you'll be able to reap in the massive health regen passive from Warmogs.